1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. The lungs are good. I have been harassed into doing a live. I've been persuaded that it is the thing to do under the circumstances. It's a live boxing talk with Raphie special. Live boxing talk with Raphie special. Okay. Shola Bofin is in the house early. He's asking, what's going on? What is going on? I will tell you, Shola. I was contacted and said, hey, I just got in from work. I was just eating my shepherd's pie. I know it's unusual. It's an unusual dish for me, but yeah, I went with it. And it was very, very well seasoned. And there was plenty of meat. It wasn't just like your shepherd's pie you get at school with just pure potato, no meat. There was as much meat as there was potato, so it was worth my while. I was contacted and says, come on, let's do this thing. Let us do this thing. And so, thought about it for a while. I said, why, what's going on? I've been at work all day. Well, most of the day. What's going on? I had seen the headlines. I hadn't yet seen the headlines that Dillian had released the substances. They had released the substances in question. And so I said, okay, listen, let me just get up to speed with what's going on. Let me get up to speed with what's going on, and then I'll chew on it. So literally while I'm chewing on my shepherd's pie, hold on, how rude of me. Where's the music? Yeah. So while I'm there chewing the fat, well, there was no fat, it was lean meat. I'm there chewing things over and getting up to speed with developments. You know, I see that, I realize that they've actually named some substances. They've named the substances concerned. And so I thought, okay, you persuaded me. You have persuaded me. Let us go live and chop this thing up. Okay, so Shola Ibofin says, yes, my brother. What's the update? Yeah, we're coming to that, my friend. The Wonderful Life of Bob J. Law, he will never get a shot. Laugh my ass off. So we have LDBC in the building already. And as you can see, the LDBC guy has clicked the thumbs down already. Thank you, Wonderful Life of Bob, for the thumbs down. Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay. So, let me check my levels before we dissect this. Analyze and dissect. Okay, how are my levels? How am I sounding? How's the music to vocals balance? How is the music to vocals balance? Yes, we are live now. We are live. Heinrich Schmitz. Yes. Germany in the building. The balance is amazing. Another LDBC guy, Brother Reality, is in the building. What do you mean, BFTB? We had a conversation. Well, I tried to have a conversation with the other day, and he withdrew my spanner. You withdrew my spanner. It wouldn't let me on. Don ZB in the building. Hold on, let me get Don ZB. Yeah, so I think BFTB was tired of me just stomping on his neck. Was tired of me stomping on his neck. Yo, Heinrich Smith says Raphie looks fresh like he had an amazing day. Yo, bro, I'm telling you. Your boy is dirty. Brother Reality walking a fine line already. Adrian Chia, why doesn't Hearn say nothing about the situation? Usually he's always a big we have LDBC people populating the area en masse. Monique Thompson in the building. How you doing, Monique? The vocal balance is good. Messi Lingard. He's gonna send you a link now, big fat. What's that idiot sending me a link for? What's that idiot sending me a link for? I was there ready to chat, and all he could do was come out with a stream of obscenities. He could have at least had the courtesy to let me on, and then he could have got obscenities back. But I'm not going to be there typing you this, you that, you this, you that. Put me on, and I'll give it you back. You know what I'm saying? That's all he had to do. Put me on, and I'll give it you back. You know, but instead he acted like the little coward, which he is. Didn't send me a link, but just sat there, you know, with his little 5'1" self, kind of running off his mouth, flapping his gums. You know what I'm saying? That was not very cool, man. Send me the link and we can chop it up. That's the way we do. That's the way grown men do things. You know? I'm at work right now, bro. Can only listen. Okay, Don ZB. No problemo. No problemo. Okay. The chat is on Diana Ball. It's moving so fast. Heinrich Smith, oh my God, I can't believe that Dillian was positive. Well, that's a good segue for me to say. Anybody who's not been here before, this is a live boxing talk with Raphie special, where we will be discussing Dillian Whyte's drug fail and its repercussions. Oh dear, brother Reality must be an LDBC guy. He's lapping it up like a dog. He's lapping it up like a dog. Ross Clark says 65% of boxers juice, including PBC fighters. Who's this guy? Wonderful Life of Bob. Bob J says, go live with BFTB. He will body you. You must be crazy. You must be crazy. Every time I go on, he ends up dead. That's why he took my wrench away. He took my wrench away the other day. You know? He took my wrench away the other day because man shook. The man is shook. He's shook.
Raphie.
Yo, I see you. I see you, man. I see you. You look like you're in a horror movie there, bro. You got the angle. You look like some kind of serial killer.
Is it dark here as well? I don't think that helps.
Okay, man. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So we have Sub Skrilla in the building. Sub Skrilla, give me a couple seconds. I just have to talk to a couple of LDBC imbeciles who are making some kind of spurious allegations. Now, if you go back and check, actually, just go back through my chats, or go back through my videos. you will see the multiple occasions where BFTB and I chop it up, and he ends up with his head on the chopping block every single time. Every single time. So I don't know what he's sending me the link for. He took my wrench away the other day, which means that he's shook. He's shook. He's scared of man. He's scared of man. I just go on nice and polite. You know, I am nice and polite, and I just chop him up piece by piece. Nicely though, politely.
That's what it should be. You should be free to just debate and, you know, get your point across. If it's respectful, then
yeah, I'm always very polite and respectful. But the other day, the man took away my wrench and was saying, "You are a such and such rider. You are this. You are that." You after he took my wrench away, so immediately they blocked my comments. They blocked my comments, so I can't respond. Everybody in the building who's enjoying the show, press that like button. Thank you. This is an impromptu thing. My arm got twisted by Sub Skrilla, who I'll introduce in a second. He urged me to get on. He says, "Come on, Raph, let's do it. We've never done it. We've never gone on." I just coming from work. I was tired. Heinrich Schmidt says I'm looking fresh. Well, I appreciate that, but one of my resolutions that I made to myself today is that I'm gonna start trying to get my 8 hours sleep, which I never do. But with the heat licking down like it is, and you know, kind of active during the day with my job, you know, I'm feeling it start. I'm feeling it. So my resolution starting from tonight is that I will get at least 7 hours sleep in the future going forward. It's a resolution to myself. You don't have to wait till New Year's to make the resolution. You can do it anytime. Anytime you can do it. You know what I'm saying? So where are we now? Where are we now? I'm going to introduce Sub Skrilla in a second. I just need to address the chat. Need to address the chat. Wonderful Life of Bob says, "Go live with BFTB. He will body you." No. He took away my wrench. He took away my wrench. The imbecile took away my wrench. Tell him to put my wrench back, and then I'll come and body him. Go and tell him that. Go on, run and tell that. Run and tell that. Tell him to put my wrench back, and then I'll come and body him when he's ready. You know, just let him get his some nourishment, and build himself up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Brother Reality says the UK knows about cowards. Bro, you are a true imbecile, brother on reality. Brother on reality.
Do you know what it is, honestly, Raphie? Like,
well, hold on. Let me introduce you first. Okay, folks. So introducing Sub Skrilla. How do you do, my friend? Introduce yourself, my friend.
I'm good, man. I'm same as you. I've been enjoying the heat. It's kind of nice and cool here now, so
yeah, it's cooled down a bit. I still got the fan in the background, though.
Yeah, it's all good. I was going to say, like, I've been on with that BFTB a few times, and to be honest, like, I'm kind of all right with him. Like, I've debated a few things. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but we can cook it up, chop it up, and it's all good.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time, it is just the mods in there that kind of go off on a bit of a tangent, but keyboard people are used to it.
Say that last bit again. You broke up there.
I'm saying it's just like I've debated with him a few times, like, and I'm cool with him. We don't agree on everything, but a lot of the time, I think it's like the mods that are. Do you know what I mean? The mods that are kind of just keyboard warriors and stuff like that in there. But I've got no problem chopping it up with people if we don't agree on everything. That's life. That's boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, indeed. Well, I don't have a problem chopping it up with him, but apparently he has a problem chopping it up with me because he's been getting bodied. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm trying to body him. He's trying to body me, but with my counters, I'm just slipping. I'm just parrying, slipping, and then, you know, I got to retaliate, so I get a little jabbing. And a little check hook, you know, a little jab, check hook. And so I'm not even going over there on the attack. I'm going over there to chop it up nicely. But if a man comes at your throat, what are you going to do? So a man comes at my throat, I slip it. Not even aggressively, I slip it, check hook, you know, come around the side, maybe a 1-2, you know, not even full power. Not even full power. It's just like, hey, chill out. Behave yourself. Let me just getting bodied.
Let me just address something real quickly. Yeah. See, brother reality in the chat.
Brother on reality, yeah.
You're hurt because your boy got popped. Do you know what it is, brother reality? Like, I've never particularly been pro-White, like, in his camp. But what's happened, like, the way White, Hearn, UCAD, the British Boxing Board of Control, the way everyone there has handled this, I'm ashamed. Like, and I'm not even Team White, and I'm ashamed. Do you know what I mean? The way that's represented, the light that's put that in, because people are over there. Like, you've got a bit of a YouTube war, fan war going on with UK and US and all this nonsense, whatever. And people get caught up in that, and they just want to have a little laugh at White now, obviously this and that. But truthfully, like, this is bad for boxing as a whole. It's not just like on one fighter. Boxing hasn't been in a good place for quite a long time anyway. And the more this shit happens, regardless of nationality, all this other stuff, right? It puts boxing in a bad light, and that's why I'm honestly like, it's not good for boxing. So that does sadden me to an extent, not because I'm pro-white and oh my boy got caught this and that. It's just bad for boxing, mate. It's not a good look. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed. Okay, we got the new moderator, Red Glove Militant, alongside Toby Bartlett has joined us also. Yeah, so you're saying it's bad for boxing. What specifically is bad for boxing?
Well, over the past weekend, obviously, we've already had 2 deaths in the ring. Now, that might not necessarily be head-related, but you better believe that that's going to put this underneath an even deeper microscope, if you like. The way this been handled, it's not just a case of a guy's got popped for peds, and, you know, we've gone down the normal avenues. It's a case of this guy's got popped for peds, and the normal avenues aren't really being followed through with, because Rivas' team, how they have not been informed of this is frankly disgusting, man. Disgusting. How would you feel if your boy, like, you've got a young fighter going in there with someone they ain't been told this guy's on Danabol steroids, this and that?
Yeah. Well, well, that's their protocol, isn't it? That's the British Board Boxing. That's the British Boxing Board of Control. That's their protocol.
Well, to be fair, the protocol is they don't have to desanction the fight until the whole process is completed. So the B sample has come back and all that kind of stuff. However, UCAD, from when they first find an adverse finding, they should be informing Team Rivas. Eddie Hearn should be informing Rivas's team. Like, that's just, you get what I'm saying?
What's that? That's good manners.
That's required. That's not manners. Is
that in their laws?
That's what UCAD are supposed to be doing. It's the same with VADA, the same with WADA. If they get an adverse finding, they just don't go and tell. Say just for example, in the AJ Miller case, let's say that for example, from when his first sample got found, right, they had to inform not just Miller's team. They informed Matchroom. They had to inform the New York State of Commission. These are all requirements that you have to go through. And so even though British Boxing Board of Control and UCAD might be a bit fruity, where it comes down to they have to wait for the B sample to be done so they get a definitive, you know, guilty. Just half understand, but it's still a little bit fucked up. They still have like a duty to inform Team Rivas, all parties involved, whoever's commissioning the fight, sanctioning the fight, and so on.
Yeah. Well, my question is that in their statutes? Is it in their statute that they are legally, or according to their rules, they are obliged to inform on a decency level? Yes, they are obliged, but I'm saying that on a legal standpoint, is it in their statutes that they have to inform the opposing fighter when one fighter gets popped in the A sample?
I'm under the impression that is. I'm going to have to double up on that and check up on that. But you know what? I'm like 95% sure that is.
Okay. So, yeah. So that then is if it is in their statutes, then that is very bad form. And even if it isn't on their statutes, then I mean, at the very least, it would be good manners to let somebody know that your opponent has failed their A test.
Then that needs to be changed, obviously, because obviously remember with Wilder and Povetkin, from when the A sample came back.
Yeah,
Wilder's team, everybody, WBC, PBC, everyone was informed of all this stuff, and they didn't want to wait for the B sample, all that kind of stuff. So
that is true indeed. So, Okay. Welcome to everybody in the chat. There's a lot of people in the chat. Can you kindly hit the like button? I'm taking time out of my day. Sub Skrilla is taking time out of his day. Kindly hit the like button if you're enjoying it. Okay.
And yeah, get this smoke in the chat. I can see what you're saying. There was did you see that, Raphie? There was also an issue over the gloves for the Rivas Whyte fight.
What was the issue with the gloves?
So basically, at the glove ceremony, you're given your pick of the set of gloves that you want. Whyte and Rivas have picked their sets of gloves, this, and that. I think you actually select 2 pairs of gloves.
Yeah.
And when Whyte got into the ring, he wasn't wearing either of those pair of gloves he picked. He said that apparently one of the pairs of gloves had been given to one of the undercard fighters or something.
Yeah.
But he had 2 pairs, so I don't know what that's about. And also, Rivas's team weren't actually allowed to check Whyte's gloves or his wraps.
That is says who? Who says? Where's that information coming from?
From Rivas's team. They weren't allowed to check any of the wraps, any of the gloves that Whyte was wearing.
That is customary. That's customary that the opposing side check the gloves and the wraps. That's customary. I don't think it's mandatory, but it's customary. They do get checked.
You're going to look a little bit suspect if you say no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course you're going to look suspect. I mean, the gloves are checked by the officials anyway, so it's not necessary for the opposing side, but it is customary. It is a custom in the game of boxing that the opposing side check the wraps. So that is kind of strange, but nonetheless, I will say that the officials check the wraps nonetheless. But still, on a customary level, that is poor. It's poor. But anyway, okay. So let's address the chat. What they're saying in the chat. Red Glove Militant. Taking some sense into Jim Leahy. Mind talking some sense into BFTB. Well, I was over there the other day and he took my wrench away. Very, very impolite. Took my wrench away. So that means when they take a wrench away, that means they just want you to be food. So as soon as he took my wrench away, I said, okay, see, I can actually tell you what happened. What happened. We'll get back to this in a second. So I'm over there and they're talking about, yes, Boxing Jedi. So I'm over there and they're talking about Ruiz can name his price. Any price that Ruiz wants, all he has to do is name it. Name his price and it's his. That's what they're saying. And I said, well, actually, no. He can't name his price because in the contract that he signed for the first fight, the price for the second fight and the conditions for the second fight are laid out. So he signs that too. And then the boy there, the dwarf, the little dwarf guy, he says, oh, how do you know that? You don't know that. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. Ruiz can name his price. And I said, no, he can't. I know that because Luis Ortiz, his manager, Jay Jimenez, or trainer or manager, James Jimenez, went on the Boxing Voice, the FTB, boxing librarian in the building. Says the FTB couldn't body a dog. Yes. So I went over there and I said, well, actually, we do know. We do have an idea about what's going on with the rematch because Luis Ortiz's manager, Jay Jimenez, was on the Boxing Voice in an interview, in a groveling interview, when he came on to apologize for saying that Eddie Hearn lowballed him, and Eddie Hearn threatened to expose them. So he came on, went on the Boxing Voice quick time before Eddie exposed him. Went on quick time and said, "Well, sorry, it's our mistake. We're sorry. It was us. It was us. We made the mistake. We made the mistake. They didn't lowball us. They offered us $7 million, etc., etc." And then Nescafe asked him, "Well, what about the rematch? What about the terms and the conditions for the rematch?" He says, "Oh, we already know that. We already know that. That was when you signed for the fight. You also signed contracts for the rematch in case we win." And he said, "Oh, so you know the terms and conditions." He says, "Yeah, we know the terms and conditions. We were getting 7 million for this fight, and we would have been getting 10 million for the next fight." So as I was explaining that to BFTB, I said, "Oh no, the terms are known. The terms are known and signed for. When you sign for the first fight, you sign for the terms and conditions of the second fight also." And man was just going nuts. "You don't know what you're talking about. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that." And he said to me, "Well, go and find the link." I said, "No, I'm not going to find the link. I told you where it is." And he said, "But there are thousands of videos." I said, "I know." I said, "Well, go find the link." I said, "No, you're going to find the link." Spanner was taken, and I was out of it. Pure and simple. You know what I'm saying? Pure and simple. Okay, so, but let's get into this article. Let me share. Let me share it with you. Screen share, application, boom, boom. Okay, so latest news. Dillian Whyte tests positive for banned substance. What do we know so far? Okay, so far, Dillian Whyte's career is in serious jeopardy as it was reported on Wednesday night that he's tested for a banned substance before his fight with Oscar Rivas. I'm gonna scroll down. Let's get to the pertinent points. What happened with Dillian Whyte's positive drug test? It has been reported that the body snatcher returned a UCAD test with banned substances and was informed of this 3 days prior to defeating Oscar Rivas. The exact substances were later reported to be epimethylphendianol and hydromethandianol, whichever. I don't know. My pronunciation on that will be out. Which are byproducts of the body breaking down the anabolic steroid dianabol. Okay, so in layman's terms, these products when you take dianabol and it breaks down in the body, these compounds mentioned, substances mentioned, epimethylphendianol and hydromoxy. We'll just call them epimeth and hydromoxy. We'll just use the first syllables. Can be found in the system, and they were found in the system. They are byproducts of the body breaking down the anabolic steroid dianabol. Who knew about it, and why did the Dillian Whyte Oscar Rivas fight still take place? Okay, so the story states that UCAD told Whyte, his promoter, Matchroom Boxing, and the British Boxing Board of Control of the results on Wednesday. However, the fighter asked for his B sample to be tested, as is his right. UCAD do not sanction boxers for PED breaches until the full adjudication process is complete, which means basically the A sample and the B sample have to come back positive before they sanction a fighter. And the subsequent hearing, So this meant that the British Boxing Board of Control had little option but to allow Dillian Whyte to fight. What was Eddie Hearn's? Well, we know Eddie Hearn's response is. Eddie Hearn's response was that further to reports, I can confirm that both Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas were subject to extensive VADA and UCAD testing for their bout. Both fighters were cleared to fight by both bodies, and the British Boxing Board of Control. Okay, did Oscar Rivas' team know? The Colombian's promoter, Yvonne Mitchell, claims they were never told of the results and found out at the same time as everyone else. Yvonne Michaels said it's with great stupefaction. Never heard that one before. We have learned yesterday from the boxing scene the news about the testing results of Dillian Whyte before the WBC, for the WBC title against our Oscar Rivas. Up to this moment, nobody on the concerned part. No, it's just butchered. The way they write it is just messy, so it's hard to read it. So basically, long story short, they were not told. According to his promoter, they had no idea. Okay, so how Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, well, we know how Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz have responded. In fact, forget about that for the time being. Let's get over to you, Sub Skrilla. Let's stop sharing for the moment. Okay, so you got that information there. What are your thoughts? What are your observations?
Very first thing I want to do, I just want to really quickly jump into the chat to see Red Glove the Militant in there saying that he's hearing it was UCAD and VADA both doing the testing. I understand there's been some confusion as to why only UCAD flagged this up and VADA didn't, and I can clear that up for you very easily right now. So basically, UCAD and VADA were both involved in the testing, but in different elements of it. So basically what VADA do is they only take the samples. What then happens is they send it off to someone else to actually test said samples. So UCAD were the ones that actually tested the samples. VADA took the samples. Are we clear on that?
So VADA did no testing.
VADA didn't actually test. So Eddie's wording of his tweet he put out, I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, you know, both fighters were tested by UCAD and VADA. That's not entirely true. VADA took samples. UCAD performed the testing of said samples, just to make that clear for the people in the chat there.
Okay, so first and foremost, before I go in the chat myself, there's 23 people watching, only 12 likes. Make sure everybody who's liking the stream, please ensure that you click the like button. Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, click the like button. Okay, so back into the chat.
I just want to quickly say one thing, though. You know, everybody's talking about the ramifications of this fight and what it's going to mean for White, this, and that. You know what I want to know, Raphie? Is he still going to be on MasterChef, Celebrity MasterChef this summer? There's going to be some tainted meat on there.
Oh my gosh, there's going to be some tainted donkey meat, lamb meat, camel meat. I don't know, but something's going to be tainted there. Something's going to be tainted there. Okay, into the chat. Red Glove Militant says, I assure you, Tommy is a switch hitter. Okay, I haven't seen the videos. I cannot confirm or deny. Right, okay, so. Oh, dear. Okay, I'm looking for White pays VADA to conduct test for all of his fights, says Philip Carl Roberts. Let me scroll up. Let me scroll up. John Dealey in the building. Yeah, go ahead, Subscriber. Chop up whatever section of what I read you want to chop up. Yeah.
So also worth mentioning, WADA find that the samples taken, the substances found, they look at it as qualitative, not quantitative. And as we spoke about earlier, that just means that if there's any of the substance, it doesn't matter if it's a trace amount. That's it. You're guilty. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, or maybes, or it was only a little bit boss. None of that. None of that is gonna fly with them, basically. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. And my standing on this personally is honestly, I think he should be banned for life. Like I haven't got any time for it. I haven't got any time for any of the excuses, especially when he was already found with shit in his body. You know, we can say, oh, it was from Jacked, you know, it was over the counter, this and that. Look, once you've made that initial mistake, if it was a mistake and you knew you weren't meant to be taking it, you better be hot on your shit from there on. Do you know what I mean? You've got a duty of care.
Yes, indeed. Some interesting points, very interesting points. Boxing Librarian says, Tommy Temper, if you remember, buddy, that was your last comment to me before Raphie saved me from your bullying and gave me a wrench. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. Okay, so wow, I got a big spider crawling up my wall. Yo, I'm gonna have to go and take care of this. Subscriber, over to you. Let me just take it. You carry on talking, my friend.
Yeah, no problem, man. So, and another weird thing I was hearing was Rivas's team actually looking to push for a rematch, and I've got no idea why they'd want to do that and not just be immediately fighting to have that mandatory position taken so they can go straight to Wilder. Obviously, I don't think they're going to get no rematch because Whyte is not going to be boxing for a very, very long time. First, the process might take quite a bit of time, and at least he's going to be banned for a substantial period, if not indefinite. But I don't know, man. Just it's a state of shock, really. At the minute, I don't know how fighters are still this stupid at this day and age with the chances they're given. People like Miller, people like Whyte, all these people, they've got these things on a plate for them. I don't understand why you'd fill your body with junk that's known to cause all kinds of nastiness in your body. Yeah, big boys, we addressed that gloves issue earlier on as well. Which gloves from the ones they picked earlier on, and also not letting Rivas's team check the wraps or the gloves themselves, looking suspect as fuck. Yeah, apparently a fighter can fight while the process plays out. That's right. Get this smoke. That's British Boxing Board of Control. So until the B sample comes back as well, they don't have to desanction the fight. And to be honest, this stuff with Ruiz saying, he doesn't really want to come over, this shit going on and that. I'm going to be honest, like, I don't really blame him, because if you put yourself, say you're a trainer, you've got a young fighter, yeah, and people want you to go over to the UK to fight. If you know your opponent can fill his body with this junk and they can still let that fight go ahead, are you going to let your boy, do you know what I mean, your fighter go over there, get his head by a man drugged up to the eyeballs? Like, why would you, when you know the fight can go ahead, and then they tell you afterwards, oh yeah, especially with what's gone over at the weekend,
Yeah,
boxers, even if they're not ped related, it just, the dangers of the sport are real, man. They're fucking real without you pumping your body full of God knows what.
Yeah, those are good points indeed. I caught some of them, just got back. I missed the spider, by the way, got away. Anyway, so my views on the whole situation is, I'm finding it very difficult to come to terms with the fact that Boxing Empire says we have to wait for the B sample. I find it very difficult to come to terms with the fact that Dillian Whyte, who had already been caught for using an over-the-counter pre-workout and getting a 2-year ban for that, when Canelo got 6 months for clenbuterol, which is a much more serious compound substance. I'm finding it very difficult that he would risk. He would risk. Well, I've got no choice. I've got to allow the spider because he got away. I find it very difficult to get to terms with the concept of the fact that the guy has already been banned for 2 years for an over-the-counter pre-workout. I'm finding it very difficult to come to terms with the fact that he would risk his livelihood by going to a much harder compound in the form of a steroid, the anabolic. I'm finding that very difficult to come to terms with. I'm finding it very difficult to come to terms with. It's very, very strange to me that he would take such a massive risk.
Especially when you're talking all this shit about other people doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Talking all that ish. Well, that just compounds it. That just makes it very difficult to come to terms with, that someone in his position who's been banned for 2 years previously for a relatively mild substance, is then going to come out and use much more strong substance, which he knows he's going to be, if caught, he's going to be severely punished for. So my position right now, oh, just got a private message. Okay, I'll check that out later. Okay, so my position right now is that in light of the fact that this is such a massive risk, this would have been such a massive risk for it to do, I'm going to have to wait for the B sample. I'm going to have to wait for the B sample, and B, I'm going to have to wait for the explanation from Team Wilder, from Team Whyte, about how those substances could have made their way into his system. Because if you noticed, I'm not passing any judgment.
You sounded like the British Boxing Board control too much there, Raphie.
Well, you know, I'm just saying. I understand your position, but I'm just saying that from my position, I'm having difficulty in coming to terms with the fact that he would do what he is alleged to have done.
I can completely understand that. It's almost impossible to comprehend the stupidity of fighters. This isn't nothing new, man. And the grim reality is the chances of a B sample coming back negative after an A sample comes back positive is minimal. Rarely, ever.
It's very rare. It's very rare. I understand all of that, but nonetheless, I'm still holding my judgment. I'm withholding judgment until I get two pieces of information.
That's
two pieces of information. The first piece of information I want is the B sample, is the results from the B sample. That's one. Two, I want to hear from Team Whyte. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear what they have to say. Three, I want to hear from scientists. Is there any way that these metabolites, they call them metabolites, that these substances,
metabolites are
metabolites,
and the hydroxy and the epimeth.
Yeah. Is there any way that these metabolites could be found in someone who has not taken Danabol?
Well, you best believe that's what Eddie and everybody else is going to be looking into as hard as they fucking.
They've got,
for the place where they come from.
They've got to be looking into it
because of the trace amount. Rather than it being a direct, oral dosage of that steroid, they're going to be looking at saying it's part of a different kind of supplement, something like this. Take your pick.
Well, there is. Are you familiar with? Do you watch the UFC?
I'm not big into UFC.
You're not big into UFC. So you probably don't know of a guy called. If I said Yoel Romero to you, you wouldn't recognize that name.
Yeah. I don't watch a whole lot of UFC, but I'm around a lot of people that do, so I kind of keep up to date through the news.
Yeah. Well, Yoel Romero is a guy from Cuban descent, born and raised in Cuba. Was on the Cuban Olympic wrestling team, etc. Highly decorated Cuban wrestler. And he received a suspension of, I think it was a 6-month suspension from the UFC when he was found to have certain metabolites in his body, metabolites that would only have come from the ingestion of steroids. Well, he has just won, I did a video on it. I think he won something like $25 million in a legal case when he was shown that the supplement, because he provided the supplement that he used to the, who is it, Vada? He provided the USADA. He provided the supplement that he used to USADA, and USADA confirmed that this company had been putting in ingredients into their supplements which were not on the ingredient list. And so the metabolites that they found in Yoel Romero's system were consistent with the ingredients, the added ingredients to the supplement that he was taking. And he has now won something like a $25 million lawsuit against the company.
Okay.
So what I'm saying to you is that, and this is not something that happened years ago. This happened, the court judgment was I think last month. The court judgment was last month, though. So recently, an athlete has been found with steroid metabolites in their system, and they have won. In the case of Yao Romero, won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the maker of that supplement.
I think there might be one key difference on this situation, Raphie.
Okay.
The steroid in question there, I don't know which one exactly it was, but chances are that isn't illegal in Cuba, whereas we know for a fact that Dianabol in any form is illegal in the UK.
No. Yao Romero lives in America, Miami.
Okay, because Dianabol, as far as I understand, and I could be wrong, but I'm like 95% sure I'm right, isn't illegal still in America, but it's illegal. Sorry, in the UK. That's a fact because of the damage.
I'm pretty sure Dianabol is illegal in America as well.
So
Dianabol is a steroid.
I don't know. That shit's in any supplement you get in down at USN or Loughborough University or wherever he's going. Do you know what I mean? He must be going over to some black market.
Well, there have been cases found where supplement companies. This is. Are you into bodybuilding?
Bro, did you see me? Man's 11 stone, you know. Well, go on, nonetheless.
Okay, so anyway, you'd never judge a book by the cover. I don't know. Maybe you can be working the inside of the muscle. I don't know. You could be working the inside of the muscle.
You know what? Opposite of all that, I only have to do leg day twice on a Sunday.
So, Cal L, salute. So basically, there have been cases, and I'm not going to go dig into them now because this is just an impromptu. Oh my God, my bad. I was promised to send a man a link, and I didn't send him the link. It looks bad on me. 1 second, let me just copy this, and I'll get right back to. Let me close that. Let me boom. Oh, paste. Simple things. Boom. Okay, right. So that's sent. Done my duty. Okay, so there have been cases. I'm not going to go digging for them now, but there have been cases where supplement companies, particularly in America, but we do get American supplements over here in the UK, but particularly in America, there have been cases where supplement companies have added in certain ingredients which are not on the ingredient list, and people have taken certain supplements, in powdered form and whatnot, and says, wow, it really does what it says it does on the tin. And that's because there's steroids in them. Now, further to that, are you familiar with Joe Rogan?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Joe Rogan, UFC commentator, and also the Fear Factor guy. Commentator for Fear Factor, announcer, whatever you call it, narrator. Right. He has his own brand of supplements. And that brand of supplements is called On It, ONIT, On It. And that brand has become very popular with UFC fighters. And the reason is because he guarantees that there is nothing in the supplement that is not on the ingredient list. So it's become such a serious issue now with supplement companies wanting to sell you a product that will make you go, wow, this shizzle really works. And the reason it really works is because they've got certain ingredients on there which are on the banned list. And so athletes now, they can take that shizzle, Pablo Diablo in the building, they can take that shizzle and pop dirty. So, I mean, like I said before, originally, smash that like button if you're in the chat and you're enjoying the show. Like I said originally, I just come from work. I was knackered. I just had some food to eat, and I hadn't really thought deeply into this. I didn't know they'd name the substances until you contacted me, and I started looking into it, started doing a little bit of research, started doing a bit of digging. and I hadn't really fully processed my opinion on the matter. But I say my response to anybody who says he's definitely guilty now because the A sample has come back dirty. My response to anybody who's saying that is not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Over to you, my friend. So, Skrilla, you good?
Yeah, man, I'm still here. 2 seconds. I was just rolling a cigarette, man.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay, so yeah, tainted supplements are a real thing, as shown in the Yael Romero case. If you go back through my videos, you'll be able to find it and all the details. Scroll through the videos, you'll find the video where I go into detail of how Yael Romero won his multi-million-dollar settlement.
Well, Dillian Whyte better pray to God that him and Eddie can find a supplement that contains Dianabol. I'll tell you that much.
Well,
they better be digging through all of USN, all these shops, and trying to find. But God knows what these companies put in some of this thing, man. So it's not entirely impossible. But at the minute, I'm already thinking, especially with previous. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit too quick, but I think that guy's guilty. Send him down.
Send him to the tower.
Lock him up.
Send him to the Tower of London. That's what you're saying, Skrilla. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
No, I'm saying
you're convinced of the guy's guilt.
I'm saying send him to the ring with Ortiz tomorrow.
Ortiz. Ortiz. Do you think he's scared of Ortiz?
I think three-way death match between him, Ortiz, and Miller.
I think Miller would win. He's got the compounds, he's got the magical compounds, he's got the well, certainly we know for sure Dillian Whyte wasn't on any fat burns.
Oh, that's true.
We know for sure he wasn't on any fat burners. We know for sure he wasn't on any EPO.
But yeah, Dianabol, like obviously it's muscle gains and stuff like that, but I think you get quite a bit of water retention on it as well.
Yeah, from what I know of Dianabol from back in the day, you may or may not know, I work in the fitness industry. And from what I can recollect of Dianabol, I've never used any of that stuff, but I know there are lots of people who have. From what I can recollect from my studies and anecdotal evidence about Dianabol, maybe I shouldn't say this without looking it up, but I'm going to say it anyway. People can look it up and disagree, and that's cool. I have no problem with that, but I'm just speaking from memory. From what I know of Dianabol, I believe it was actually invented in Russian laboratories to give many years ago, decades ago. I think he was one of the first steroids. Here we go, story time now. I think Dianabol was actually one of the first steroids created in the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, I know. It had a big boom in the 70s, didn't it? When all that bodybuilding was kind of peaking up into.
Yeah, it was from my recollection. Anybody can go and do your research should you so wish. From my recollection, Dianabol was created by the Russians back in the Dizay to give their Olympic athletes a serious edge. And you'll remember back in the 70s, well, you may not remember, but from looking back at tape and videos of the time period, you'll see back in the 70s, a lot of the Russian ladies, they looked decidedly masculine. And by the York bar, he's John Grimmick. Okay, so in that case, if that wasn't Dianabol, John Dealey's just telling me that Dianabol was actually developed by the York Barbell Company and tested on John Grimmick. Okay, so Dianabol, then that was the response to a Russian drug, because the Russians came out with a steroid, and their female athletes started to look decidedly masculine. And then what happened was the Americans caught wind of it, and they decided to come up with their own version, their counteraction, so to speak. And they came up with Dianabol, according to John Daly.
The space race wasn't enough that to go do a steroid race as well.
There was a steroid race between the Russians and the US of A. there was a steroid race. The Russians came up with the very first one was testosterone, but anyway, that was underrated and undervalued at the time. It was only later when they started to realize the full value of testosterone. But yes, there was a steroid race between the USSR, as it was known back then, and the USA. I can't remember what the Russia's version was, but apparently John Daly is telling me that the Russian wasn't Dianabol. That was the American response to the Russian drug. So yeah, I can't even remember where I was going with this, but yeah. So Dianabol has been around for a long time. It's as you quite correctly state, it's a muscle builder, and if we look at Dianabol, it doesn't seem to make sense for Dillian Whyte to be taking it. There's other compounds that he could have taken, which would have been much more beneficial for boxing. And I don't see where Dianabol fits into that scale. You see what I'm saying?
Well, he is known for gassing out, and it does improve your stamina as well as muscle gains, doesn't it? I guess I'm not too clued up on
Does it do that? Let's have a look at Dianabol. Let me share, because I haven't done this yet. You know, this was kind of impromptu. You said, "Come on, Raph, let's do it." So I said, "All right, let's do it." So let's have a look at this. Is in real time. I haven't looked at this previously. I just pulled it up. Let me have a look. Let me have a look about what it says about Dianabol.
Do you know what it is? You've got to strike while the iron's hot. You can't do a Blue Blood Sports TV and do a breaking news like 3 weeks after some IFL interview.
For real. yeah, it makes sense.
Blue Blood is a good guy, but you know where I'm at.
Dianabol is one of. Okay, let's go with this one. I think I'm sharing. Right, Dianabol review. Dianabol is one of the most popular steroids amongst bodybuilders. Building size and strength can be a tough process. We all want to, People that truly want to enhance their physique often choose to experiment with androgenic anabolic steroids. These compounds, get to the point. I have used Dianabol and many different types of steroids and decide. What is that? Okay, let's go.
Is that a review by Dillian Whyte by any chance?
Well, this guy doesn't look like Dillian Whyte, certainly. If you're searching for compounds that would help with building size, chances are you came across Dianabol. Most people refer to it as D-bol. D-bol is actually called methylagenate. It was first developed back in 1955 to help hypergonadism. Hypergonadism? Oh, that's small testicles. That's underdeveloped testicles. But it has been discontinued in pretty much every country after it was discovered that Dianabol had a high anabolic activity. Bodybuilders started using it. They were able to gain large amounts of lean muscle mass in a short period of time. Strength also increased rapidly. Dianabol benefits and side effects. It is pretty complicated to explain how Dianabol works in the body, so I'm not going to try. Let's go straight to the point. Let me start up by saying the product is not for everybody. It carries certain risks, and you have to decide whether or not you're ready for it. The Dianabol is great for building, for bulking, and putting on size, whilst other steroids such as Winstrol and Trenbolone are more directed towards cutting. You'll see most bodybuilders and fitness enthusiasts use it during bulking periods. This is strange. This don't sound like a boxing drug. Due to it having the ability to increase protein synthesis, it will allow you to build muscle much quicker. Benefits: rapid muscle gains, increased strength, protein synthesis boost, improves recovery. Okay, it improves recovery. That would be good for boxing. Performance.
Did you not notice White was busier and also his stamina looked way better, man? Putting 2 and 2 together, but
yeah, he had improved stamina with that. But as you quite correctly said, that doesn't mean he was taking Dianabol. Performance enhancer, overall mass gainer. Once again, I don't see why I'd be looking to gain mass, not at all. May stimulate fat loss. May stimulate fat loss. Reduces fatigue. Okay, there's some positives there for for boxing. The ones I noticed would be improves recovery. Okay, that would be good. Improve your recovery.
Strength and recovery, man.
Sorry again.
Strength and recovery. That makes
Well,
sense.
yeah. It does increase strength. Yeah, improves recovery. Yeah, performance enhancer. Yeah, overall mass gainer. No, you don't want that. May stimulate fat loss. Yeah, but may reduces fatigue. Okay, so there's some benefits to Dianabol. The side effects.
Snickers.
Say again.
I said stick to Snickers.
Side effects. Water retention. I don't see how that helps him. Potential acne. Didn't see any acne. Bad for the liver. Yeah, that's not good. Hormone suppression. Gynecomastia risk. Bad for the heart. Illegal in most places. Hair loss. Yeah. Dianabol is a high risk steroid. There's a lot of negatives to Dianabol. It is a dangerous drug. All steroids are dangerous to one degree or another, but Dianabol, from what I know of Dianabol, people take it to blow up. It's for mass building. And to be quite frank with you, I don't see it as being a good choice for a boxer. For one, your weight's going to go up. Potential acne, bad for the liver. Hormone suppression. That means your own testosterone delivery is suppressed. Who wants that? Gynecomastia risk. Bad for the heart. Illegal in most. There are much safer. I'm not saying steroids are safe. Steroids are dangerous, but there are much safer steroids. This is a bad one. How to use Dianabol. But I'm not even going to go into that. Just quickly. Dianabol is available as oral or injections. Okay, let's get out of that. Don't seem like I'm advocating steroids. No way, no how.
Selling it there, man. The pros outweigh the cons.
The pros outweigh the cons.
I'm 11 stone, you know.
Yeah. No way, my friend. If you look at the cons, I know you're joking, but just look at the cons again. Side effects, water retention, acne. They say potential acne, but acne is a given with Dianabol, really. Bad for the liver, hormone suppression. So basically, you're making yourself less manly and that includes a lot of steroids. You actually suppress your own testosterone production. So you gain while you're taking it, and then you come off it, and then you're messed up.
This is the same with all peds. There's, none of this shit can be good for you, man. None of it is natural.
So gynecomastia, bad for the heart, bad for the liver. Hair loss. Well, come on, it's just not good, and it's not a good steroid for boxing, in my opinion. Not that I'm advocating. Not that it is heart attack gear. It's heart attack gear. Of course it is, says John D. It's heart attack gear. There are no steroid is safe, in my opinion, but Dianabol is one of the real bad ones. Real bad ones. There are better alternatives to Dianabol. Dianabol is a bulking agent. It doesn't have, I can't see its application in boxing at all. There are other steroids which are more applicable, and I'm not going to go into that. But Subscrilla, we've kind of chopped it up. This isn't going to be a long time. We're not here for a long time. We just, hold on. Is my guest? Are the guests coming? No. Okay, no, we're good. So yeah, I mean, we've talked about let me go into the chat because I don't know what people are saying. Let me go into the chat. You can pick out any comments that strike you also, Subscrilla. Dianabol, John Dealey says Dianabol is what Arnie used and why he had to have the heart bypass. He was like a triple heart bypass. Dianabol is what he used to bulk up when he was like a teenager. You notice when he was a teenager, he was massive. He started taking that shizzle when he was like 15, and he was huge, bloated, without much definition, because that's what Dianabol does. It blows you up without definition. I'm scrolling through the chat. Where is Ped when you need him, says Red Glove Militant. It's very unusual for Ped not to be here. Very unusual for Ped not to be here. Okay, folks, if there are people in the chat who are enjoying this impromptu Dillian Whyte facing a lifetime ban live boxing talk with Raphie special, if people are in the chat who are enjoying it but haven't yet smashed the like button, would you please kindly do so? It helps with the visibility of the show, according to a man from overseas once told me. You seen anything you want to, see any comments you want to pinpoint to Subscriber?
I was just quickly replying to Red Glove.
Okay, I got
He
you.
was
That's
asking
cool.
about weight conversions and shit like that. So basically,
That's cool.
I'm like 154 pounds. That's 11 stone, but I'm like 6'1", 6'2", so I'm a string bean, you know. But what I will say, regardless of guilty, not guilty, I already think the dude's guilty. But this shit aside, serious reforms I feel need to be made with regards to the way UCAD handled this and the way the British Boxing Board of Control handled this, because it shouldn't be a situation where a fighter here can fail a test and then get there in a ring with another fighter. Even if the B sample hasn't come back, that shouldn't be happening, man.
Yeah.
But otherwise, what's the point in doing the test before the fight anyway? You may as well just test him after the fight.
Yeah.
What I'm saying. And
but
trying to understand someone like Ruiz saying, why the fuck would I go over there and get in the ring when I don't know what the fuck people are due stuff on? You've already got the judges and all this kind of nonsense against you. But then you don't know what that other guy's saying. And if I was someone's trainer, if I had a young kid, I wouldn't put him in the ring with someone when I don't know what they're doing.
Yes. I hear what you're saying. For real. It's valid points.
Because, like I say, it's not just a stain on the boxer. This shit happening is a massive stain on the sport, and boxing already gets a pretty bad rap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's not a good look.
I have to agree with you there. Okay, so we got DJ Georgie Porgy in the building. We got Cal L in the building. KRO. We got Joe 56984. That's his pin number, folks. By the way, that's his pin number. He's with Santander, so now you know.
Where you from, Raphie?
Yeah. Brum, North Birmingham.
Yeah, where, man?
Yeah, all
right.
Just North Birmingham. I don't like to not to give people too much information.
Yeah, I used to be from by Ladywood and Aston.
Yeah, I know them sides. I'm not too far.
When's that Wilder evening with Wilder thing again?
Saturday.
It's
interesting that you raised that, because I did offer people in my chat the opportunity to contribute to the ticket price. Ticket price about £55. I did offer people in my chat the opportunity to contribute, but unfortunately, only a couple did. So I unfortunately will have not received the half that I needed. I would have put the other half in. So unfortunately, folks, you'll see that the donation button was not used to its optimal effect.
When I was looking into it, I think you had to go up to like £100 and something pound to actually get a meet and greet and all this kind of stuff with him as well. I think the bronze and the silver you just get a bit of a dinner.
Yeah, carry on talking, bro. I gotta take care of something. Carry on talking.
Yeah, no problem. But I wouldn't mind going down there. Do you know what I mean? Seeing the dude.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved going down there. But the subscription button, the donate button was not used sufficiently. Carry on talking. I'm back in a second.
Yeah, no problem at all. But yeah, all this white stuff. Like I said before, I think serious reforms, whatever the outcome of guilty, not guilty, you all know I already think this dude's guilty. But serious reforms with the British Boxing Board of Control. We can't have a situation where people can be failing a test and the fight's still going ahead. It's nonsense. It's nonsense, man. Let's have a look at the chat again. Yeah, a few Brummies in here, weirdly. I don't live in Brum no more, though. I live up north now. I moved up here. What you think of the boxer dying in the ring? Just watch this video. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, that was a WBC sanctioned fight. I saw some of the footage, and basically after the 12 rounds, he's lying on the floor. They don't get him out the ring. They don't give him no oxygen mask, nothing. They're just getting his gloves off, and they're waiting for the scorecards. And the guy's dying in the ring. They're not in any rush to get medical attention, anything like this, and this is a professional sanctioned fight. This isn't some fight in a pub or. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was
This
Raphie
is a professionally sanctioned fight.
talking about the Russian guy who died.
Nah, this is another one. There was 2 over the weekend. This was what's his name now? This is a different fight, Raphie. This is this guy actually died there. It was
So there's been 2 deaths.
Yeah. 2 seconds, mate. Let me just get this up.
Yeah.
Let me just get this up 1 second, because there's footage of it and that I don't really advise.
No. I don't think.
But basically, the 12 rounds went on. The guy didn't get any medical attention immediately after the fight. He was in the ring, and they were just kind of waiting around for the judges' scorecards.
Yeah. I'm just laughing at something in the chat, not the tragedy. Not the tragedy. Just responding to someone in the chat. Right.
It was Hugo Santillan.
Okay.
Argentinian boxer, and it was on a sanctioned fight.
Where did it take place? Where the fight? Was that in the USA or? Okay, no worries. Okay, we're coming to the end. I think we've chopped it up. I think you're clear. I think it's clear. We sit on different sides of the fences on this, in terms of the guilty, not guilty. So Skrilla, I think it's fair to say you're leaning to the side of guilty for Dillian Whyte. Is that fair? Send him to the tower. That's what Skrilla is saying. I'm saying not so fast. I'm saying not so fast. I'm not saying he's innocent. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'm saying that there is precedence. There's precedence for real precedence that just only recently a man has won multi-million-dollar lawsuit against a supplement company that put illegal substances, anabolic substances, in their supplement. He took them. Pissed hot, if you'll pardon the expression, and got banned for 6 months. And he's won a y'all, Romero, look it up, go into my videos. I cover the thing extensively, and I show receipts as per usual. So, Dillian Whyte, it's not all over. They think it's all over. Not just yet. And I say not just yet, and I say not so fast. Okay, so people, there's a lot of new people in the chat. I see a lot of new faces. So if you're enjoying the show, I would like you to hit the like button, please. That shows your appreciation for the show. And also, if you're enjoying the show, kindly consider hitting the bell icon. That will ensure that you stay updated every time we are live. Okay, so that's the like button and the bell icon. So as I was saying, to recap this, Skrilla, I think he's on the side of guilty. Take him to the tower. Off with his head. Take him to the tower.
All that aside, again, just restating, reforms need to be made.
Yes,
for sure, man.
Yes, I'm gonna get to that as a separate part.
We can agree on that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to get to that as a second part. I'm just talking at the moment about the guilty, not guilty. How we sit on that. I'm on the side of not so fast. It is not done. It could well be signed and sealed with the B sample and without any suitable explanation. It could be signed and sealed. It could be just guilty. It could be guilty. Simple as. He could have chosen to take Dynabol. Simple as. He could have chosen to take the risk. Simple as. He could be guilty. Simple as. And then he leaves himself open to be banned for life. Simple as. All of that could be true. I personally have difficulty. I'm experiencing difficulty in believing that he would be that crazy. He's been tested. He's been on the WBC team clean testing program for a number of years. He has been highly vocal about other people allegedly having therapeutic use exemptions, TUEs. It's not testosterone use exemption, it's therapeutic use exemption, TUEs. And so with all of that said, for him to come out and just decide to take Dynabol when there's better options, he went for Dynabol. I find that a difficult concept to I find it difficult to believe. Not impossible. Not impossible to believe. Just difficult to believe.
It's hard to understand, but I can kind of see from one side, like if you think the position is in, obviously you don't want to screw things up, but then you're taking a really tough fight in Rivas.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss out on your title shot.
Yeah. So you go take steroids when you know you're going to get tested.
Someone might whisper a little something in your ear, this and that. Like it happens. It happens.
It's possible.
You know it does.
It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that the man simply went out and took some Dianabol. It is entirely possible. But what I'm saying to you people is don't be too surprised if there is an explanation. Which doesn't,
like I said before, they better hope they find a supplement that contains them substances, man.
Well, it's like, well, it's not even that. It's like, he may have taken a substance. He may have taken a supplement that contains that substance.
Even if they do, WADA's ruling is it's qualitative, not quantitative. So even if it is a trace amount, and they can say that, I think he still might be likely to get a ban. You know, because
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Obviously, it was just an over-the-counter supplement. It didn't make a difference. He still got a 2-year ban.
Mm-hmm.
When he appealed, I think they accepted his story, if you like, but they're still giving the 2-year ban.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, as far as the repercussions of if the B sample, and remember the B sample's got to come back. The B sample's got to come back as a fail as well. And what are the chances of it coming out differently? Minimal.
I think that's because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is with UCAD, I'm not sure it's with all of them as well, the A and the B sample is actually the same sample.
It's actually the same sample.
It's not like
it's poured in different cups.
Test now.
Different files. Yeah, so that is very likely. So ultimately, if the B sample comes back positive as a fail, which it most likely will do, then that will mean that any which way you cut it, Dillian Whyte is facing a ban. The only question is how long is the ban likely to be? And like I said, I'm here for a good night time, not a long time.
Raphie, let me ask you quickly: if you're a professional boxer, are you going to take any supplements?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
I don't think I even would, you know.
Well, that's the reason I mentioned
what these companies are putting in that shit. I wouldn't even want to risk, especially at that level. I know other people, you know, and that's what catches them out. They think everybody else is going to be doing this shit, you know. Yeah,
well, that's why I mentioned Joe Rogan and his line of On It, because that is a reputable brand where, it's a reputable name, and athletes can take that line, that brand of supplements in the full knowledge that it is the highest priority of that brand to ensure that there are no ingredients which is on the banned list. But I mean, do you listen to Ty and Boo?
Say that again.
Do you listen to Ty and Boo? Do you watch his stuff? Ty and Boo?
I'm the ex-boxer.
Okay, yeah, his next boxer now. He does kind of. He takes a satirical look on the boxing scene now. Very comedic, very cutting edge. Not everybody's cup of tea, but he says some things that you only think. He says some things that you only think, but you never say aloud. Yeah. So Ty and Booth, he actually got banned from boxing because he said something about a boxer who had died, and it was a bit satirical. He said he meant it one way. The boxing board took it another way and banned him. I think they banned him for life.
A bit of a Fury/Wilder kind of character.
Fury, wow. Yeah, very much so. That's a good assessment. But his delivery is even drier. It's very, very dry. I like him. It's funny as hell. Maybe an acquired taste. But anyway, he said that Boxer X, I can't remember who he was talking about. When the cameras were in his kitchen and they were walking around his kitchen, you could see his kitchen was full of supplements. He said, when I was boxing, I didn't have any supplements. That's a big difference. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, as a boxer, you want to get the maximum amount of nourishment that you can in your body. Well, any sportsman, you want to get the maximum amount of nourishment that you can legally ingest for recuperation, for any kind of strength edges it might give you, any kind of recuperation edges it might give you, recuperative powers, any kind of edge you can get legally. you are going to want that supplement. Me, yes, I would be looking for clean supplements. Are you going to look at every single ingredient? Nope. And you may get caught out. So is Dillian Whyte? This is the question. This is the question. Like I said, we're here for a good time, not a good time, not a long time. Here is the question: is Dillian Whyte guilty of taking dianabol? I ask you point blank, period. Skrilla, is he guilty?
Well, the test says he is. That's what we've got to go off. The test says he is. He can have 101 different reasons, but the fact is it's in his system. So it's now a case of why is it in his system?
Okay, right.
And so that makes little difference to me. That makes little difference to me. Okay. I ain't got no sympathy, man.
Yeah, okay.
That's just my standing on it.
Yeah. So that's the guilty side. My side, what do I say? I say I don't know if he took dianabol. I'm not entirely convinced that he took dianabol. I'm not entirely convinced. I am going to have to wait for the B sample, and then I am going to have to listen. I will listen to his explanation. Who knows? He may come out and say, yeah, listen, I took some dianabol, but I thought it'd be out of my system in time, and it wasn't. My bad. Sorry. I'll accept my lifetime ban. Simples. That might be the case. At the moment, I don't think he would be that daft as to do it. But sometimes people do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do. So it might have. My position is I don't know. I'm going to wait for the B sample, and I want to hear his explanation if it is anything other than, yes, I took dianabol. So you got two sides of the coin there, folks. You got two sides of the coin. So I think we kind of covered it. Let me go into the chat. If you see anything in the chat you want to address, Skrilla, feel free to do so as I scroll through.
Yeah, man. So just looking at what will happen to Rivas now, do you think he'll be made mandatory immediately? Well, like I said, his team look like they're pushing for a rematch, which doesn't really make.
Well, a rematch can't happen. Can't happen. Yeah. A rematch can't happen if he's guilty. It can't happen. If he's innocent, I suppose if he's innocent, it can happen. If the B sample comes back negative, then I guess a rematch can happen. But he's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Surely
even if it comes back negative, I'd already be looking to overturn it as a DQ and
no contest or whatever.
Yeah, getting that mandatory position straight away. Unless Rivas doesn't really want that work off Wilder, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You just don't know with these things. Just don't know with these things. Okay, so I'm looking through. I'm scrolling through. You know what? I think that's it. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Your final words. So, firstly, it's good to have you. It's good to have you. We should do it again at some point, no doubt. Your final words, Skrilla.
Anytime I'm free, man. Yeah, just the same as pretty much what I already stated. You know, we can go back and forth on do we think he did it, do we think he didn't. It's there. Now we've got to wait and hear why we think it's there. Outside that, just them reforms I want to see from UCAD and from BBBOC. I don't want to see us in a situation where boxers can juice up to the gills and still get in there with a fight, and then we find out afterwards, oh, such and such, they had something in their system. There's already enough dangers in boxing without adding this, and it doesn't put the sport in a good light. So I want to see shit change there. Yes.
So the final words from Skrilla. Good to have Skrilla on the channel for the first time. We shall certainly be chopping it up again. And so, guys, it was an impromptu one. Wasn't planned. Got home from work late, tired, but I was prompted to get on, and it was a good decision. Good decision. So I'm not going to go all the way through the chat. Everybody in the chat, you know who you are. Glad of you to pass through, to stop on by to our humble establishment. It's the Cal L. Most definitely. Cal L says, thank you, Raphael. Thank you to you and everybody who came and hit that like button, to the people who hit that subscribe button, everybody who contributed, Subscrilla, and all of you. So I'm not going to go all the way through the chat, but I'm just going to mention the names that I can see. Red Glove Militant, our new hall monitor, Crow, Cal L, Pablo Diablo, always good, a good contributor. Crow. Who else is in here? John Daly, of course. How could I forget? Always contributes to the channel. We're going scrolling. Scott, another big contributor to the channel. Thank you for your donation, Scott. Thank you for your donation. You led the way where others may follow. Thank you very much for that. The Boxing Empire is becoming a new name in the chat. Seen him a few times now. Good to have you. Good to have you in the chat, in the building. And we're scrolling through. We are scrolling through. Okay. Yeah, I think I've got those are the Richard Burrows. Never seen you in the chat before, Richard Burrows. Hit that like button. And if you like the chat, then by all means, hit that subscribe button. Toby Bartlett, Raphie 1. Yeah. Jim Leahy. Good to see you in the chat. Richard Burrows again. Monique Thompson. Thanks for coming by. And many, 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 many more. Joe 5898. Okay, so well, Boxing Empire. Okay, so thank you all. It's Raphael Dawkins, joined by Subscrilla. It's the live boxing talk with Raphie special. Dillian Whyte facing a lifetime ban. We brought it to you. Hot off the press. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comment. It's the share. And it's you in the chat. And we are out. Blessed.